Of the 4 million Syrian refugees who have fled attacks by their government and ISIS, the United States has taken in 0.03% of them. That's a pitiful number that needs to be changed immediately, a growing number of Americans say. Both Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump and Democratic candidate Martin O'Malley agree the U.S. needs to step up. But how many should the United States take in? And what risks would be involved? How the U.S. fares. So far, the U.S. has accepted 1,500 Syrian refugees. By contrast, Germany said it will take in 800,000 migrants in the current refugee crisis. The International Rescue Committee called for the United States to open its doors to 65,000 Syrian refugees. An online petition asking the U.S. government to do exactly that has garnered more than 54,000 signatures. The U.S. has historically been the world leader in recognizing the moral obligation to resettle refugees. International Rescue Committee President and CEO David Miliband said. But in the 4 years of the Syria crisis, there has been inertia rather than leadership. What the government says, the Obama administration says, is considering helping more with refugee resettlement. State Department spokesman John Kirby said he anticipates the figure of 1,500 accepted refugees to double before the end of the year. I expect to see the U.S. will take in even more going forward, Kirby told CNN last week. The National Security Council said the United States has helped quite a bit financially. It is important to note that the United States has provided over $4 billion in humanitarian assistance since the Syrian crisis began, and over $1 billion in assistance this year, NSC spokesman Peter Bougaard said. The U.S. is the single largest donor to the Syrian crisis. Where's the hurdle? Some say opening the country to more Syrian refugees runs the risk of having extremists slip through. Republican presidential candidate Marco Rubio, a son of immigrants, said the U.S. must be careful. We would be potentially open to the relocation of some of these individuals at some point in time to the United States, he said. We'd always be concerned that within the overwhelming number of the people seeking refugee, someone with a terrorist background could also sneak in. But the process for Syrians seeking asylum in the United States is complicated by a long security vetting procedure meant to ensure that only desperate refugees, not extremists, reach American soil. Where the opposing candidates agree. GOP frontrunner Donald Trump, who has been running a campaign anchored on expelling illegal immigrants, told MSNBC the situation was so horrible that the United States should accept more refugees. I hate the concept of it, but on a humanitarian basis, with what's happening, you have to, Trump said to Fox News. Democratic presidential candidate Martin O'Malley backed the IRC's call for the U.S. to accept 65,000 refugees. Americans are a generous and compassionate people, he said. But today our policies are falling short of those values. We must do more to support Syrian refugees, and we must certainly welcome more than the proposed 5,000 to 8,000 refugees next year, he said. New Jersey Governor Chris Christie said Obama hasn't acted strongly enough during the Syrian crisis and has allowed these folks to be slaughtered. I frankly can't imagine as President of the United States how you could permit this to happen on this scale, and now we were seeing those results, he said.